So as South Africans count down to the 2026 National Budget Speech, the Nedbank and Old Mutual Budget Speech competition has announced its finalists, who are said to possess the best of South Africa that it has to offer in terms of economic knowledge for the future. First launched in 1972, this year sees the competition celebrate its 50th year. Now, whilst the format of the event has evolved over the latest 4 decades to keep up with the changing times, judges have continued to select essays written by some of the top economic minds our country has produced. Initially, the competition was only open for postgraduate students, but in the early 90s, the undergrad category was introduced. Now, for the first 3 decades, there was a finalist per participating university from which the winner and runners-up were selected, but subsequently the top 10 essays were selected irrespective of the university the entrants came from. Joining us for more on this is John Manyike, his Group Head of Financial Inclusion at Old Mutual. A very good afternoon to you, John. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
No, it's a pleasure to have you with us. Let's perhaps start with the genesis of this competition.
Yeah.
How did it come about and what are the current objectives?
Look, if you look at this particular budget speech competition, which targets our young graduates, and these are emerging economists. So the whole idea is really about creating a platform for young and emerging economists to find a way to translate theory into practical evidence-based analysis of our economic and policy issues that are aligned to our national agenda as a country. So, and I think we felt the best way to do this is to invite young people to reimagine, how best can some of these complex issues be addressed. I mean, you would appreciate the fact that the economic and policy issues that we're dealing with at this point in time are very different compared to the ones that were faced by our past leaders over 30 years ago. So the advantage of aiding young voices is that it helps us to reimagine some of this thinking and to see to the extent to which they can bring some academic excellence and translating it into some critical thinking.
I'm told that the intellectual rigor displayed there is of another kind, absolutely unmatched. Let's talk then about the finalists. You've got 10 undergrads, 10 postgrads. Talk us through that rigorous process to select the best essays that envision some sort of a South Africa with a better economy. So
it's a multi-layer process, a rigorous process of finding a short list of some of the best essays submitted by these students. I mean, the undergraduates were looking at issues in relation to how we deal with trade tariffs, for example. So that was their topic. And more specifically, the tariffs and protectionism. And they came to a conclusion that trade tariffs on their own, as much as they can provide short-term relief for some of the vulnerable sectors, but they are not on their own enough to help us address some of the structural issues such as skills mismatches and so forth. So, I mean, there's some critical thinking there. The postgraduates were looking at the monetary policy of our central bank, debating and examining the implications of adjusting the band. And they also recognize the fact that, South Africa's inflation, our local inflation is largely driven by energy costs, administered prices, and other things, So it does really help us to critically look at these things, and we're proud to be in support of such a great initiative, because we are now producing a generation of thinkers and not just students.
So how can the rest of us at least catch sight of some of these articles? Because at least when you talk about protectionism, it's quite topical even now, because there is this wave of protectionism where people think that if you put your country first, then most certainly you'll stimulate your own economy. But we live in a global village, so it would be quite interesting for some of us to read those articles of the finalists. Where can we get those?
Look, I want to believe that our organizers will make them available for the public to look at that, because it is useful even for future students who may wish to write a paper. Because some of the students who are writing a PhD dissertations, I mean, they might find some good use in some of the work produced by these students.
And then to the prizes, we know there have been changes at one point. Among the prizes was a bursary to study at the prestigious Cambridge University. What are the changes done?
Yeah, so I think one that I would highlight is the fact that, you know, the prize money for postgraduate is about 150,000. Yes, there are runner-ups, and the runner-ups will also be getting something. Similarly, with the undergraduates, there would be runner-ups. There's a third, second runner-up as well as the winner. So there's certainly an opportunity to win. Even those that may not have made it to the top three, the fact that you're given exposure and you're attending a gala dinner, rubbing shoulders with some of the top economic leaders and policymakers of our country, it may be just that one introduction that may set the tone for some of them for their future.
And most certainly good on you as Old Mutual to be part of cultivating a new generation of thinkers. That here we've got people that want to be change agents because they're critically thinking about what needs to be done with our economy. So when will the winner be announced?
On the gala dinner, on the day of the budget speech, we certainly can look forward to some names there.
No, quite interesting. Well, good luck to all the finalists. Thank you very much, John, for joining us. That is John Manyike. He's Group Head of Financial Inclusion at Old Mutual, just talking to us about that budget speech competition.